Now, high rent charges by homeowners continue to frustrate tenants, and the issue has been generating a lot of public discussion for some time now. Now, the Ministry for Works and Housing was to take its turn at the Meet the Press series last week, but that was postponed. Ahead of the anticipated press briefing by the sector minister, where the issues of rent are expected to be addressed, we bring back a report which captures the concerns of a section of the Ghanaian public in regards to rent.
John Terry and his brother have a reason to while away time in their sitting room today. Acquiring this 4-bedroom apartment did not come easy.
Anytime we wake up, we do the searching the whole day. Then we stayed house in Tema for almost 2 to 3 months. We couldn't get those ones we got were really expensive. And the young guys, from university working less than 1 year, why do you, go raising that money to pay for a year or two? And most of the houses we got to, they were just interested in 2 years. None of them was ready to take 1 year.
In Ghana, many urban dwellers strive to acquire decent accommodation and have to battle high rent charges, some of which are even priced in dollars. The struggle to have a place to call home is an unending one.
We call the agents, they come over, we meet them. They are just interested in the 70 their percentage. We give it to them, they don't fast track it. The moment you pay, hallelujah, they are cool to go. You call them and they I'll get it for you. You call them and they switch off, they won't pick up your call.
So for agents who try to help out in the search for rooms, it always has to come at a fee, and even that, the frustration is immense.
We want the prices to be down, but because government doesn't control the rent system, we find it difficult, very, very, very difficult. Everybody calls price he or she wants, any price. You will see somebody paying single settlement 150 Ghana. You see somebody paying 200 Ghana. You see somebody paying 250 Ghana. You see somebody paying 300 up to 700 Ghana.
Ghana's housing deficit is almost hitting 2 million. Hundreds of new homes spring up at new sites as the real estate business booms, but the huge cost forces people to settle in slums. For many city dwellers, the inability to acquire decent accommodation is not as a result of shortage of houses, but its affordability. Here in this estate, many of the houses are empty because people cannot pay $50,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Developers say the high cost is as a result of expensive land and building materials. The housing sector is unregulated. Hence, tenants have no choice than to pay cutthroat rent charged by landlords. The houses put up by developers are also expensive and sold in dollars, out of the reach of a lower or middle income earner, with a minimum age of a little over $2.
No private sector can help anybody at the lower end. It has to be government. And this happens everywhere around the world. I mean, society realizes that these vulnerable people, we need them. And so we have to make room for their survival. So when it comes to housing, there has to be deliberate policy direction to deal with this. But unfortunately, over here in Ghana, I'm not aware of any housing policy which is geared towards helping those in need and those below the social ladder.
According to the 1963 Rent Control Act, no landlord has the right to take rent advance for more than 3 months and 6 months for residential and commercial areas, but landlords charge as high as 2 years advance in rent. An institution set up to ensure equity, the Rent Control Department, has been reduced to a place for certain scores between tenants and landlords.
People are easily evicted without taking due course because tenants or landlord feels it is my room. I gave it to you, so I can abuse the law and do whatever. If you don't like, go. And all is because they fail to come out with a proper agreement that will bind the landlord and bind the tenants. And because they need the thing and the thing is in short of supply, they don't care about it, and they take advantage of the ignorance of the tenants to also abuse the right of the tenant.
Meanwhile, a bill seeking a revision of the current rent law is awaiting passage by Parliament. Even before it is done, tenants say the new law, which will ensure they pay only a month's advance in rent, is not feasible. In spite of efforts by successive governments to breach the housing deficit, Ghana's housing policy so far has fallen short of attaining the Sustainable Development Goal 11. In the heart of the capital city, people sleep along the streets. They sleep here because they cannot afford rent or housing. The number of people who sleep rough is increasing, as Ghana's housing policy does not capture the provision of affordable housing for the vulnerable.
So now, Zoom Lion, Barbie and was station, Mujana Sour Station, you know about put in church on Sunday. No, nearly put or no fiano cry, why BNA.
An affordable housing project started by government in 2005 has not done much to bridge the housing deficit the country faces. The project has faced a series of challenges from one government to the other in its implementation.
In 2015, we launched the housing policy. And in it, we should have a housing authority that will regulate the conduct of all the actors in the housing industry, so that nobody can just wake up tomorrow and go and see a chief, acquire land, and says he is into real estate business. That is not, it's not helping anybody. And so I was expecting by now that through the policy, a bill could have been developed and brought to Cabinet, for that matter, Parliament by now.
Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, outlines provisions for housing projects in the 2018 budget. Estate developers say this is not enough towards reducing the housing deficit. Government, they say, has to invest an estimated $3.4 billion to bridge the gap.
But there has to be that arrangement where government is committed and says that, look, I want to confront housing. We have a housing deficit of 1.7, and this is as at 2010. So I know by the time you do the extrapolation, we should be heading around 2 million. What have we done? It has worsened. From the time the 2000 was established, we should expect that by now, at least we can say some 200 units has come. So now we are around 1.5. Go and check and see. The demand per year, we are nowhere near half.
They want government to entrust the business of providing affordable houses to the private sector, while it focuses on facilitating the provision of infrastructure such as roads, water and electricity. As Ghana grapples to tackle challenges facing the housing sector, rural-urban migration is increasing at an alarming rate. A housing crisis stares the country in the face, yet there appears to be no hope in mitigating it. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, GH1 News.